Alright, so not all heroes wear capes, but some do, and sometimes capes are worn by weird kids with an obsession for alien life, and sometimes aliens who are heroes wear capes. Case in point, Elio and Elio and Superman. James Gunn is probably my favorite reliable movie maker when it comes to superhero flicks. He just has a grasp on how to mix the super in superhero with the idea of a humanesque hero in superhero, someone whom you can relate to even if their powers are far beyond human comprehension. We've seen this in Guardians of the Galaxy Volumes 1 to 3. We've seen this in the Suicide Squad. His movie, obviously not the one that came before. And now we're seeing it in Superman. And we also see that James Gunn has a very tight grasp on the idea of Superman and what that exactly entails. And what it entails is quite simple. Well, it is quite simple. It is goodness. An unquestioned goodness of our main character, of our main hero. He is the good guy. He is Superman. He is good because he wants to be good, because that is what he feels is right. And there is not a lot you can say about the movie beyond that. At least if you want to avoid spoilers, because if you don't, well, then I could go into more detail, but let's just go over the basics first. So, Superman. He comes to Earth as an orphan, gets raised by the Kents, and then begins in his late 20s, approximately, according to the movie, to save people. He's flying around and he's making sure that evil has no chance in prevailing. And that's kind of it. That's where we first meet him, 3 years into the new job. He gets his ass beat, and from there on out, he has to try and somehow be victorious over the schemes of the evil Lex Luthor, who, by the way, is portrayed in this movie of a kind of childish, what's it called? Machiavellianism of sorts. He is very childish. He has a truly short temper to him. But Lex Luthor is still a genius who, develops a plan or two that keeps Superman out of his way, so to speak, up until a certain point in the movie, obviously. And he's a pure delight. He's a pure delight to be witnessed on screen. He truly, and I do mean truly, embodies what a classic Silver Age supervillain should be. Superman himself is just very much likable. He's relatable because the first time we see him in the movie, he's getting his ass beaten, and from there on out, we kind of see him as not necessarily an underdog, but someone who is very much not indestructible. And I think that's an important part of what makes his character, and what keeps the stakes high. Because if we were to meet him as the Man of Steel, for example, and someone who just kind of regards the rest of the world as beneath him, I don't think I could really root for him as much. He would still be entertaining to watch, but that is not someone whom I could give a shit about. And having him be semi-vulnerable is a step into the right direction. It is a movie that has a very positive vibe to it, which is very important, and specifically in days like these, where basically all that I can wait for is for Donald Trump to finally drop dead The same goes for Vladimir Putin and obviously shit, I haven't remembered the name of that dictator douchebag from Israel. Yeah, but the point is, I'm kind of just waiting for certain people to drop dead so that the world can maybe start to recuperate. Anyhow, yeah, so what was I? Oh yeah, Superman. He's portrayed in this movie with a lot of charm, a lot of relatability, but most of all with the goodness that should come with the character territory. At his side, he has a few semi-popular DC heroes, and together they are kind of the League of Justice, sort of. I'm not sure if that was the original lineup. I don't think so. I've never really read the comics, but I've heard of these other heroes before, and they all bring their own kind of flavor of superheroism to the table. Krypto is another very positive aspect of this movie, which is obviously Superman's dog. Well, in theory, Superman's dog. You'll see if you give the movie a chance whom this dog actually is. And Krypto kind of serves as a wild card, so to speak. He is a dog, and as such he is trained to a degree, but he's not as well trained as he should be. So every now and again, Supes doesn't really have him under control, which helps once again humanize Superman, even though Superman still is Superman and therefore very close to being indestructible. The movie has a great sense of humor to it. What I also liked about Superman, the movie, and also the character, is that he really is desperately trying to save everyone. Literally everyone, not just everyone, sometimes every animal that is around. At one point he saves a squirrel, if I remember correctly. It was very entertaining. It is funny. It is action-packed, it is exciting, it's just a great time to be had. I mean, it's like what most James Gunn superhero movies are like. They're just these great spectacles. They always feel like a breath of fresh air. Because he knows what he's doing, and he's not, I mean, he's slightly compromising every now and again, but not too much. He's not watering it down like most recent Marvel outings have done. And he's just kind of doing what he's best at. Just kind of doing his thing. It's a James Gunn superhero movie. Go and watch it. Yeah, there's nothing else. Those were the things that really stuck out to me. Next up, Elio. Oh wait, hold on. My rating. Yeah, Superman is worth an 8.5 out of 10. It delivers on what it promises, and it does so with a great sense of humor. And an even greater sense for action and excitement, as I previously stated. Yeah, so Elio. That's just one of the newest, or is it the newest movie from Pixar? I've actually never seen. I'm trying to remember. I think I've never seen a Pixar movie in theaters before. This was legit my first Pixar movie that I've seen in a theater, I think. Like, here's the thing. For example, Finding Nemo, I watched at a neighbor's house, illegally downloaded. For example, I've never seen Cars in theaters, even though I would have been the right age when the first movie came out. I don't remember ever seeing a Pixar movie in theaters. So that's apparently my first experience of a Pixar movie in theaters, and as such, I was entertained. I was already kind of intrigued by the trailers that had announced Elio's arrival, because I myself am quite the science fiction nerd, and I do like myself some great science fiction. I do like the idea of, a character kind of being thrown to an alien world. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is one of my favorite books ever written, so yeah, and it has aspects of that. What I also liked about the movie is that Elio is not necessarily the most likable kid, but he's a kid, and he's a kind of problem child that I could kind of get a catharsis out of, because I could see my past self, in aspects of him. I think I was never that bad, but nonetheless, if you were to ask my mum, what I was like around that age, she definitely she would definitely have the odd bad thing to say about me. Because let's be honest, like if you're 12, 13, that's one of the shittiest ages to be. You're at the end of your childhood, but you're at the beginning of your puberty, and that's just awful. You get the worst of both worlds. But Elio specifically is obviously the way he is because he first of all, he lost his parents, but second of all, he has this obsession with aliens, and then aliens actually do abduct him. And before that happens, he does a few things that could be considered kind of shitty behavior. And I'm not saying that is excusable. No, it isn't necessarily. He's a problem child to a degree. And once again, I find that a lot more refreshing than having a character who's way too likable. There's a reason why, for example, I like Assassin's Creed 3 a lot more than Assassin's Creed 2. I fucking hated Ezio Auditore de Firenze. The dude was just way too likable. Meanwhile, Connor is a problem child, and I like that. It's just relatable, and it feels more like it helps you. It helps you engage with the movie a bit more deeply, because you kind of want to see whether or not this character can change, and if he does so in a positive way, and he does so because Elio has to step up and back up all the shit that he's been talking up until that point, at a certain point in the movie, because he lies his way into almost becoming the representative of Earth for like this Star Federation type organization, and then he basically bullshits his way into trying to become the main responsible person for peace talks with a warlord. And that's basically where the actual movie really begins, and the plot really kicks into gear. And that's all I want to say. I'm kind of sad that the movie is not doing as well as it should at the box office. I really liked the movie. It had lots of very imaginative images to show off. The story was really fun to follow. Once again, the character was relatable. I just liked that he is this kid who probably means well, but just like gets way too caught up in his obsessions and in his own lies. But yet again, you still have then this the fact that he does have to take some responsibility for what he has caused, and that is very refreshing to see that he did that, and that he at the end has grown into a more mature person. I also liked god damn it, I forgot the name of the son of the warlord with whom Elio befriends, with whom Elio makes friends. I forgot his name. It sounds like a normal name, just with globulus or something at the beginning. And Elio and his relationship is just like super fucking adorable. These two are like fucking besties. That's the best way of putting it. And they just kind of they really like each other, and that's just heartwarming. It's really heartwarming to see these two just kind of doing dumb friendship shit, dumb kid stuff, dumb friendship kid stuff. And also the fact that they get to keep their friendship. Oh shit, spoilers, I guess. But the point is, it's a great movie. I do believe it's not necessarily like a hit straight out of the park or something. It's not a 10 out of 10 or anything, never a 9 out of 10, maybe not even an 8 out of 10. But a 7.5 out of 10 I can definitely muster up for this movie because of its creativity, because of the interesting character that is Elio, because of also the thematic subject matter of parenthood, and sometimes just the idea that a parent will definitely have issues with their own child, but that, at least based on this movie, that those parents still, even though they might dislike certain aspects of their children, still will like their own child, but more importantly, they will recognize if it's not their own child whom they're faced with, because there's like this subplot in the movie that has something to do with cloning. And it's kind of an interesting look at, your mom and your dad might have been really pissed at you at some point in their lives, but at the end of the day, if they really truly are good people, and they still will like you. And if you're a parent, you kind of listen. The closest thing I am to a parent right now is an uncle, but even as an uncle, there's this thing. My niece and my nephews. I have had my moments at which I was really fucking pissed at just how fucking annoying they were. But at the end of the day, I would be put off if they behaved in any other way than the way that they did. And I do, by now, know their modus operandi, and I do like them for that. But I also know that they can be the most annoying little shits imaginable. But that just comes with the territory of kids. And I think that's another message of the movie, that it's not... It might sometimes seem as if love isn't really going around, even though it is, but there is a limit to what adults can take, and there is a limit to what kind of rejection a kid can face, or perceived rejection a kid can face from an adult. And at the end, it's obviously important that, you know, it still needs to be communicated between both child and adult that, you know, neither hates the other, not really, but it is important that it always needs to be mentioned that they do hold love for each other, the parent and the child, because sometimes, especially if you have a problem child at on your hands, the child in question might just get the wrong impression when the adult is emanating relatively negative energy, so to speak. So yeah, Elio is great to look at, tackle some interesting questions, and when it comes to, you know, problem children and their potential obsessions, but also the idea of a young child slowly stepping towards adulthood and taking responsibility for all the things that he does or says. And because of that, you know what, 7.5? No, it's a 7.5 to an 8 out of 10. It's definitely a movie that I would recommend you watch in theaters, mostly because it looks great, but I'm not sure how much longer it will be in theaters, so there is that. And yeah, no, that's kind of it. Watch it if you get the chance, maybe with your kids if you have some. Even if you don't, you might just find yourself enjoying an interesting take on both science fiction and on a Pixar story. Because once again, I don't need my characters to be likable. I just need them to have a character arc that goes with their unlikability, and maybe them coming around to being a bit more approachable by the end. And that's it. 2 movies about aliens. Both involve capes, but that's about it with the similarities. Good night and good luck to whomever you are.